So again, this one defines your integral sign. Functions of f dx is the term that we need to integrate, which is your integrand. After integrating that term, we'll have our integral form. Then always add at the end of the integrated form your integration constant. With that, there are several properties in which we then need to define a indefinite integral. Burahin ko muna yan. So properties of indefinite integral. There are basically 4 or 5 properties of indefinite integral. First one is that integrating a derivative form of a function equal now to its integral form plus a constant, where du is basically your exact differential. So, halimbawa, ang differential ni cosine is sine, so yan yung ating du. Exact differential. So, for instance, if I'm going to integrate the derivative of x, that is now simply equal now to x plus the constant integrand c. Ganun lang yan. Or, if I'm going to integrate cosine x dx, di mawawala yan si dx kasi this is now the differentiated form of a particular function. So, integral of cosine x dx, remember that from your differential rules, trigonometric function, if it is sine x, the differential form is cosine x. Tama? And if it is cosine, the differential form is negative sine x. Baliktarin natin yung system. The integral of cosine x is basically sine x. The integral of negative sine x dx is cosine x. Same goes to those other differential formulas. So, halimbawa, ito, integration or integral of cosine x dx, that is basically your sine x. Or the derivative of sine x. By doing so, remember that the derivative of sine x is cosine x. Therefore, the integral of cosine x is still sine x. And again, don't forget your integral constant or integration constant. Then, what if that is dy over the integral of dy over 1 plus y2? Remember again your differential rules. Your differential rules. The derivative of arctan is basically 1 over 1 plus y squared. Therefore, the integral of 1 over 1 plus y squared is basically arctan. So, our final answer should be arctan y plus again your integration constant. Later on in the latter discussions, we will then be able to solve the integration constant c. Pero dito muna tayo sa basic. Then later on, magkakaroon na yan ng limits, which I believe has also been introduced to you before during your differential calculus. Okay? That is the first property of indefinite integral. Next one. The second property of indefinite integral is that integrating an equivalent a constant with respect to its derivative form du is basically constant integral of the derivative form. Kung may constant ka sa iyong function, basically tanggalin mo lang si constant sa iyong integrand, then iwan mo sa iyong integrand form yung kanyang form which carries variables. So c here is basically your constant. So for instance, kanina, cosine x dx or 2 cosine x dx. Pwede naman nating tanggalin si constant, cosine x dx. Then, ang integrate na lang natin yung nasa loob ng integrand, which is cosine x dx. And by doing so, that is 2 cosine x, that is 2 sine x plus c. Ganun lang yan. Kung may constant, ihiwalay si constant, iwan yung merong variable. Kung binomial form, hiwalay yung constant, iwan yung merong variable. Ganun lang yan. Then, kung multinomial term, that is your third property, letter C, if you're asked now to integrate a multinomial, let's just say a minus b plus c. All of this are constant. Kailangan natin, as simple as this, you distribute your integral sign throughout this term. So basically, that is integral of integrand a du minus integral of b du plus the integral of c du. But remember that a, b, c are all constant. So let's move them out of the integrand. Let's move them out in the integrand. So that will be a du minus b du plus c du. Ganun lang yan. Note that often we will just say integral instead of indefinite integral. Kasi pare-parehas lang naman yan. But it comes down to the different formulations that we will then introduce under your with our next modules, with the succeeding modules. It will be clear that the context of problem that we are talking about are an indefinite integral. So all of them are in indefinite integrals. So basically, indefinite is your integrating function of x. So as a basic example, let's just say you're asked to integrate or evaluate the indefinite integral of 5x raised to the 4th dx. Remember that in differential calculus, we subtract the exponent of our function to basically differentiate the given form or the given term. But again, as I've already said, with indefinite integral or integral calculus, reverse yung gagawin natin sa ating integrand form. So by doing so, kung minus ang ginawa natin sa differential, anong gagawin natin sa integral? Of course, we'll have to add. Mapapansin niyo sa ating term or sa ating integrand, meron bang constant sa ating integrand? That is your number 5. Extract natin si number 5. Para mas madali, ang i-integrate na lang natin is si x to the 4th dx. Okay? But in this, sabi ko nga, reverse yung ating gagawin. Therefore, yung magiging exponent natin, kailangan nating dagdagan ng isang. So let's just say, this is now x n plus 1 over n plus 1. Then plus your constant. Meron na tayo ng 5. Integrate na lang natin si x raised to 4. So x raised to 4, again, we need to add 1 over 4 plus 1. Then your integration constant. So basically, that is 5x raised to 5 over 5 plus c. Or simply 5x raised to 5 plus c. X raised to 5 plus c. Bakit merong plus c? Marahil, noong bago natin siya i-differentiate, meron niyang constant value na 1, 2, 3, 4, and something like that. Remember that if it is x raised to 5 plus 5, if we're asked to differentiate this one, ang magiging term natin is simply 5x raised to the 4. Dahil constant yan, magiging 0. So, may babalik natin siya doon sa ating requirement, sa ating integral form. Then again, indefinite integral is simply the reverse of your differential calculus. That is why we have x raised to 5 plus c. Question? In continuation, here are some other properties of indefinite integral. Other examples pa na pala. So how are we going to integrate naman e raised to 2x dx? Or how are we going to integrate 2x cubed dx? Integral of e raised to 2x dx, ang integrand natin is e raised to 2x. Diba? So with that, basically, that is, remember that the derivative of the derivative of 1/2 e of e raised to x is simply equal to 1 over 1 e raised to x. Tama? Or simply e raised to x. But here, we have integral of e raised to 2x. So basically, that is 1/2 e raised to 2x plus the unknown constant c. Integration constant. Diba? Ganun ulit. Na-discuss na natin yan kanina. Integral of the integrand 2x cubed dx. May constant tayo. Ilabas natin si constant. Ang integrate lang natin si x cubed dx. So that is 2x 3 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 plus c. Or that is basically equal to 2 over 4 x raised to the 4 plus c, or 1/2 x raised to the 4 plus c. This is now our final answer. Remember nyo lang yung inyong differential formulas. Kabaliktaran nun is your integral formulas. In continuation, here are some other properties of indefinite integral. Nasaan ba tayo? D. The integral of constant k functions of x dx is equal to k fx dx. So basically, k again is your constant value. So halimbawa, example, you are asked now to integrate the integrand of 3 times x plus 7 raised to 5 dx. There are two ways in which you can solve this particular problem or integrate this particular problem. There's that long method and there's that short method. Long method, ano yung long method? Expand natin yung form, raised to 5, then expand natin, then multiply natin sa constant 3. Or, basically, remember that 3 is constant. Therefore, our only integrand here is x plus 7 raised to 5 dx. Such that the integrand is x raised to 7, x plus 7 raised to 5. You could expand this term or you could simply integrate that as it is. Kasi yung x naman sa loob has only one exponent. So you no longer need to differentiate that term. But if that particular variable has an exponent, you'll have to differentiate that first, then extract the differential form, then add it as part of your integrand. Pero later na yun doon sa module number 2, power formula. But with this, hindi na natin kailangang expand. Basically, integrate lang natin yung integrand. X plus 7 raised to 5, then add 1 over 5 plus 1 plus c. So that is now, ilan? 3 over 6, 6, 1/2. 1/2 of x plus 7 raised to 6 plus c. Kung in-expand nyo naman, x plus 7 raised to 5, and expand nyo pa siya, of course, yung magiging final answer ninyo is the expand form. But then again, I'll ask you to simplify your final answers to the most simplest form. So, ang most simplest form natin, kung sakali, ay ito. Okay? Now, other or the next type, next property of indefinite integral. Next property of indefinite integral is that the function of an integrand fx dx, fx plus or minus gx dx is simply equal to fx dx plus or minus integral of gx dx. So this one basically dictates that the integral of a sum or difference of a function is the sum or difference of the individual integral. So basically, distribution lang ng integral sign. Kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina. Now, sabi ko kanina, di ba, pwede nating i-expand yung problem. So, yun yung part ni property E. So, for instance, if we have this problem, evaluate the indefinite integral of 3 times x plus 7 raised to 2 dx. Constant si 3, ilabas muna natin siya. So, meron tayong integrand na x plus 7 raised to 2. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na constant si 7. It is now enclosed in a single term or in a term that should be expanded. So, we'll have to expand this term first to apply this particular property. So, 3, integral sign. Ano expand form nito? X squared plus 7x, 14x plus 7 squared is 49. Then, dx. Remember the rule of property E. The integral of a sum or difference of a function is also the sum or difference of the individual integral. So basically, i-distribute natin si integral sign together with constant number 3. With the constant value. So 3 integral x squared, kunin natin si dx ulit, plus 3. Dito, pagdating dito meron tayong constant, that is 14. So labas natin si 14, 3 times 14. Ang integrant na lang natin is si x dx. Ganon din doon sa isa. 3 times yung constant na 49. Ang i-integrate na lang natin si dx. Okay? Simplify. 3x 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1. Plus 3 times 14 is 12, 42. Then, x raised to 1 plus 1. Isa-isahin muna natin. Although sa tingin nyo madali, pero mamaya nalilito na pala kayo. Kaya, pakita natin ng unti-unti. Then plus 3 times 49, 27 to 147. Tama? 147. Then, dx is simply x. Then your constant or your unknown constant c. 3 over 3 is x cubed plus 42 over 2 is 17x squared plus 147x. Then your integration constant c. So this is now our integrated form. Okay? Okay. Now, the last property of indefinite integral of indefinite integral is that the function of x dx is also equal to the function of fy dy. Mamaya na lang po kayong mag-chat. Hindi ko kasi makita yung chat niya. Or this one defines if integrating the original problem entails some difficulty, then substitution is suggested, which will later on be more discussed further sa ating module number 3, integration by substitution. So a change of variable of integration is again introduced. So as an example, so for instance, I have an integrand of x cubed minus 4x dx. Ang dali lang, no? Para mas madali, isa-isahin natin step by step. Integrate or evaluate the indefinite integral of x cubed minus 4x dx. Wala siyang exponent sa labas, so we don't need to expand this integrand. What we need is to simply distribute and introduce to each of those integrand, x cubed and minus negative 4x, our integral sign, so that we can start our integration process. So basically, integral of x cubed dx is minus the integral of 4x dx. Tama na ba yan? May next step pa ba tayong pwedeng gawin? Remember, 4x dx. Meron tayong constant dun sa integrand na yon. So basically, extract natin si 4, which is our constant, x dx. Again, same process. Add 1 to your exponent, plus 1 over 3 plus 1. Minus 4 times x raised to 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 plus your integration constant. Simplify, x raised to the 4th minus 4 over 2 x squared plus c, or x raised to the 4 or 1/4 of x raised to the 4th minus 2x squared plus c. So that is now our final answer. From integration of x cubed minus 4x dx, this will be our integrand form or integral form. Question. Now, what if our integrand has a square root form? So for instance, example, integrate or evaluate the definite integral of the square root of 1 plus 5x dx. Paano yan? Remember, square root is basically the product of a number multiplied to it's a product of a number multiplied on its own. So basically, square root is also equal to an exponent of 1/2. Tama? dx. Ngayon, ang tanong, pwede mo bang i-expand si 1 plus 5x raised to 1/2? Yung mano-mano lang. Kaya mo bang i-expand si 1 plus 5x raised to 1/2? Oo naman, kaya mo yan. Pero, it's a waste of time to expand that particular term. Kung pwede naman nating isolve as it is and use our basic knowledge in differential calculus. Okay? Under power formula, identify natin kung ano yung kailangan nating i-integrate or integrand. Our term to be integrated is 1 plus 5x. The derivative of 1 plus 5x is basically 5 dx. Tama? Such that our integrand has an exponent of 1/2. To equate the system or to put the system or the integration system into an equilibrium, we need to introduce a term 1/5 to this integrand, to this differentiated form for us to make the system equal on both sides. So parang gagawin lang nating 1 si 5x by adding a constant of 1/5 to this system. So basically, doing that, 1/5 is our new, which is called your correcting factor. Si correcting factor will eliminate the integral, the differentiated form of our integrand. So 1/5 of 1 plus 5x raised to 1/2. Correcting factor, 5 dx. So makaka-cancel na yan. So ang i-integrate na lang natin is 1/5 of 1 plus 5x raised to 1/2 plus 1. All over 1/2 plus 1. Then your integration constant, c. 1/2 plus 1 is ilan? 3/2. So 1/5 of 1 plus 5x raised to 3/2 over 3/2 plus c. Simplify further. 1/5 over 3/2 is 2 over 15 times 1 plus 5x raised to 3/2 plus c. So this will be our integrated form. This particular process and definition terms, yung u, du, at n, will then be furtherly discussed under module number 2, integration formulas for power formulas. So yan lang yan. Basic pa lang o practice. Eh paano naman pag inverse? dx over 1 plus 5x. Anong gagawin nyo dyan? Ano mangyayari sa exponent na 1/2? Pag inverse, basically magiging negative 1/2 dx. Then, ganun ulit. What if dy over y squared? Ganun ulit. Inverse y negative 2 dy. Then, ganun ulit. Okay? So that is, tapos na yung module 1. Module 1, indefinite integral. Basic forms lang tayo. Properties of indefinite integral. How to integrate an integrand form. Return it to its original form. Yeah. So, yun lang yan. Stop ko na to.